to another episode of Anderson Ad Break. I'm your host, Maddie.
And I'm Sam. On this episode of Anderson Ad Break, we are speaking with our very first guest of the year, Carly Barney. You may know her on Instagram and TikTok as AZ Eats and Drinks. She is known for all things food and fun for restaurants and food events across the valley.
Yep, she's your one-stop shop for all things food in Arizona. So if you're not following her, please go do that right now before you start watching. And make sure to rate us 5 stars on wherever you get your podcasts. Well, welcome to Anderson Ad Break, Carly. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Let's just talk about how you and Sam know each other, because that is why you were able to be here today and be our first guest. So how did you guys meet?
So it was like, 6 years ago?
So crazy.
Crazy. I feel like it has not been that long, but time has flown by. We met when we worked at Vestar. We worked with the power centers. So we had 10 different power centers. So you handled all of the marketing, and then I handled all of the social media.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it's been so fun getting to know Sam and be able to work with her and then continue our relationship after the fact, still both being in marketing and in that ad space. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's impressive. 6 years later, and you guys' friendship is still going strong. I saw the other week that you guys both got your last names changed together, which is so adorable. And then you got margaritas after. I was like, I love this work friendship that's turned into a best friendship. I think it's so cool to see. And that just shows you when you network, you never know who you can meet and connect with years later and have in your life. So
definitely, I feel like the best friends are made at work. Honestly,
for sure. It's I feel like it just everyone relates more and understands, because it's when you go home and try to talk to your friends or your spouse about your work day, it's they may understand a little bit, but it's I feel like your work friends really understand everything you go through on a day-to-day. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school?
Sure, all the fun stuff. I'm originally from Simi Valley, California. My family and I moved over here when I was 13, 14, so I've been in Arizona for a while now. I went to school at NAU up in Flagstaff. I actually went to school to be a teacher.
Oh.
And then decided it wasn't for me, so I kind of was just Googling what majors would work with my personality, and it was communications marketing. So I ended up graduating with communications and then started at Vestar. So yeah.
Was Vestar your first job out of college then?
It was, yeah.
Oh,
it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. That's amazing. So what did you start out as? What was your position?
So I actually interned for them while I was at NAU, and then started out as a marketing coordinator over at Westgate. It was a lot of fun. It's definitely immersive, getting into the event world, into the event space, and kind of where we got to interact with a lot of restaurants, and that's kind of where everything started stemming from, of the food page and things like that, just getting to do marketing for restaurants, but on that property management side. So
yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So getting to work kind of with our tenants for the shopping centers and get to see the restaurant side of marketing on that side. After Vestar, I went to go market for restaurants directly from mom and pop shops, and it was so much fun. And we got to hire a lot of influencers, and I got to speak with them and see what they do and the behind the scenes. And that's honestly what got me into it, because I'm well, why don't I just try this too? It seems like such a fun thing to do.
Yeah. What was the biggest thing when you were working with these influencers that, sparked your interest and be oh, I want to do that? Was it just kind of being your own boss, having another side hustle? What was interesting to you about it? Or the food? You're just I have food. I need to eat food.
Kind of all of the above. I mean, it is obviously fun to have something you can do yourself and have a bit of control over it, but already doing it for the all-encompassing side of marketing for the companies I've been working for, we're already filming our food videos ourselves. So I kind of already had that knowledge, but I'm it would be so cool to expand this and make connections around the valley, just talk to other people with restaurants and see how that goes. A lot of the food influencers too all have full-time jobs. I think that was my biggest misconception about influencing is oh, you have to quit your full-time job and just jump right into this and give it your all. But it was more comforting when you're talking to all the other foodies and bloggers out there that they all still work full-time, so it can definitely be doable on both sides.
I think that's a really good point to make out there, because I think that was probably a misconception I've had. I haven't been able to work with a lot of influencers in my time, but just, as a social media consumer, I think that's really interesting that you're able to balance both and kind of like, do you make your own schedule? Is this something that it's like in your free time, like after your normal 9 to 5, that's when you and your husband go and do these videos and go out and explore?
Definitely. So I think probably it's a little bit tricky for the businesses we work with, but I think a lot of us on the marketing side are used to like, hey, can only come after 5 Monday through Friday and on the weekends, but it's still a lot of fun when we can do it. There are still events that happen during obviously work hours that we can't make, but it's still a lot of fun, and it's helpful so much doing it with Justin, because if there is something that's keeping one of us at our 9 to 5s a little bit longer, the other can go out and kind of tackle it. So that's definitely
that's nice. You can kind of tag team the events and all of the stuff you need to go to.
Yeah.
So with your marketing and background, what has helped you grow AZ Eats and Drinks? Like, is this something that you need to have this knowledge, or like, can you just kind of start your own little side influencer hobby like yourself without it? But like, how has this helped you?
Having a marketing background has been extremely helpful, I would say, because you kind of already know the ins and outs of it, but I don't think it's necessary in the slightest. I mean, even just talking with all of the foodie influencers that work their full-time jobs, a lot of them aren't coming from marketing, and it's a lot of stuff you can teach yourself and learn from other influencers, keep an eye on those things. I have a lot of friends who've just kind of started that work in the school field or like in IT. So it's not needed, but it's definitely helpful because you kind of have that background knowledge already. But if you're willing and passionate about it, you can definitely teach yourself too.
That's awesome. I feel like, because it's like when we were working so closely together as a social media person, I feel like there was so much that we talked about with social. So, and I remember when you started AZ Eats and Drinks too, like that was such a cool moment where like I kind of saw the whole progression of you like starting it and then thinking about it. And then you're like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And then you did it. And then now it's like you have 35.5 thousand, which is crazy in only just a couple of years.
Yeah. It's been awesome. It's definitely been fun. And I think, as you know, and while we're working together and obviously still being in the social media space, it is ever changing. So even if you do have some knowledge, it's good to keep up on it. But just being like ready to go with the flow and definitely see your own progression. I look back at the first video we made the other day and I'm just like, oh, it's not our best work. But
You mentioned being like patient. What are like some of the top qualities and things that you've learned along your way that's helped you grow this following? So I off the top of my head, I think probably authenticity and patience is probably two like key things. What else could you elaborate on for the audience?
I definitely say those top two are super important. Your audience can tell when you're not being authentic. So you want to make sure like we're going into restaurants and we're interacting, that we're displaying food that we actually like and that restaurants that we actually like and we have a good experience with. I think that's something that's definitely transferable to your audience. And also just making sure it's something you're super passionate about.
Right.
I have spoken with a lot of friends that want to start it, but I feel like you have to have the right intentions of wanting to start it. Like if you're like, oh, I want to start this so I can quit my full-time job and just make sure this is my new thing.
Make millions.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
I don't want to knock anyone down, but that's probably not going to happen right away. I mean, there's definitely the bloggers out there that are out there killing it, doing their thing, but it takes a long time for it to grow. So the patience part of it is super helpful. And just also being patient with social media in general. Like even right now, Justin and I will be sitting at home like, oh, why can't we figure out this new algorithm? We're just trying to make it work. And I'm sure you guys understand that just from the marketing perspective too.
Yes, I know. I swear the back end of Meta is always changing. You know, it's like when we pull reports and stuff like that, we're like, okay, there's a new button here. Welcome. What do you do? Yeah.
Or even just a couple weeks ago when Instagram completely changed the feed. Like an Instagram used to be 1080 by 1080, but now it's 1080 by 1350. So I noticed too when I was scrolling through your feed, once they made the changes, I was like, oh no, everyone's feeds are so messed up. But you were on it. Like that day that they changed it, you already started changing like the cover photo.
I will have to give credit to Justin for that. He keeps an eye on like all the he does all the graphic design and all the cover photos, and he noticed that right away. And he honestly had to show me how to kind of edit that back end. He has a social media background too, but just like showing that we're still not up to date with all of the changes, so you don't have to be up to date with everything that's going on with Instagram to do something like this, but just making sure you're paying attention to that because it can change on a dime, and it's like, okay, now we have to go back and change everything because you can't even read our cover photos with all the info in it now. So
well, I think that's a good point to make. I mean, being an influencer, like you said, it's not, just you need to be passionate. It's not just about making millions right away. And then it's also like, even if you don't have a marketing background, once you start, it is now you are a part of that industry. So it is good to stay up on, Meta updates or Instagram updates or wherever, TikTok, wherever you're like posting from. I mean, that's probably an important part of your business as well, because you want to make sure it's appealing to the audience and everything.
Definitely. And showing like kind of that you have that literacy within social media to the businesses that you're working with, I think is definitely important to them too.
Right.
When they're looking for influencers to work with.
That sparks a question for me. What are the top things, like when you go to work with a business, what are they looking for? Does it vary? Like, do some restaurants or companies not care, or like how does that kind of work?
It varies.
Okay.
Widely, yeah. I think definitely like the more mom and pops will be like, oh yeah, just come in and help us and film what you want and enjoy your experience. And then sometimes they'll give us like a shot list to come in and do. Sometimes it'll be super detailed of what they want us to do. So it really just depends.
Okay. Yeah. Do they ever ask for like your analytics and engagement? Like I've heard through the grapevine of influencers like that like it's engagement that's the most important, right? Is that the one where it's like, so people can see like if you're actually like clicking and like following and liking and commenting on your videos, or what's the most important like analytics that you've been like asked?
So we actually haven't gotten a lot of feedback on the analytics side. They'll definitely ask for them, but after that's done and dusted, they'll kind of just say thanks so much and have a great day. I would say though, kind of being on the marketing side of it before and actually hiring influencers to come in, more on the mom and pop side, it really is just seeing an impact in your sales.
Okay.
And that's what drew me to influencing a lot too, because it was so impactful for our businesses. Some of the influencers we worked with on the restaurant side grew our sales like 30% in a weekend after their videos were posted. So it's crazy to see how impactful it is.
30%.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
And I think a lot of the restaurants are appreciative of that type of interaction and just being able to work with locals and see that on more of a, I guess, organic level than just, obviously Meta can provide all of the analytics, but you can't always just see that exact KPI of going from the video to the sales in the store.
Right.
And I feel like that's what is so difficult sometimes trying to explain the importance of social media to some businesses, is that sometimes there is not an immediate ROI. Sometimes it basically is just about brand awareness. And it's like you can track some analytics, like website clicks, or if like their sales and that influencer just came in and you can like see the bump in sales. But for the most part, I would say that social media is just brand awareness and gaining trust with followers. Because it's like if you see like a restaurant, you're like, oh, this might look really good, and then you see that they don't have social media, so you might think that's a little weird. I don't know, like they're a real business. That's what's like really hard sometimes to like try to tell businesses why social media is important.
100%. I feel like whenever I did it last night, whenever I look for a restaurant, I'll go to their Instagram and see what the food looks like.
Exactly.
And absolutely. And I was also like saying, there's something to be said, like, when you post about something that's maybe not in like Phoenix, it's like somewhere else, like Flagstaff or Tucson or whatever. Like I always save those videos. Like I'm like, okay, well, yes, I'm not there right now, but when I go there, I'm going to save this because I'm like, okay, I don't know the area. This restaurant looks amazing. The food looks great. I'm definitely going to save this and save it for later. And so it also, not only does it maybe have, influencing can help not only in the short term, but also in the long term as well. When people like save content, it comes on your feed, with the algorithm changing, you never know if you're going to add a video from 2 weeks ago or whatnot.
No, it's definitely hard to stay on top of stuff like that. Just the other day, one of our Christmas videos was popping off. And I'm like, that's great, but it's not Christmas anymore, so I'm glad you guys are looking at it. But
you're
next
like,
year,
join this experience. The experience is over. It's February.
It ended 2 months ago.
Just bookmark it.
Yeah.
Save it for later.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice for businesses working with influencers? Like, is there anything that you recommend that they do or that they don't do?
Yeah, so as far as just my experience with working with influencers, I feel like it's super helpful to kind of just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
If you're trying to control the narrative, it can come across as unauthentic, and you do want that to come across that way. I think it's helpful if there's dishes that you want to promote or show off, you can definitely send them out and make sure they film them, but just give them the freedom to film what they want to film. That always has seemed to do best on the marketing side for things. And just like coming from the influencer side of things, it's really helpful too, because then you can kind of just come in and do your thing instead of having like, okay, we have to make sure we're getting this right and then this shot. And it just comes across a little more broken and not as organic.
Yeah, because I would say influencers, I mean, like each influencers are people, right? So each person is going to have a different stylistic approach to their videos and the way that they like caption it and then the way that they edit it and the way that they put graphics on the screen or whatnot. So I think that is probably also like a creative choice. So if someone's like trying to take over, and obviously that person has become successful for a reason and they've amassed a following for, you know, their type of content. I feel like if you were trying to control that a little bit too much, like you said, it could come across inauthentic, and then the people might be like, you know, something's fishy. Someone had a hand in this, you know, making this video. So I definitely, because like as a consumer, I could definitely probably tell when there's sponsored content or like content where maybe there is some other person heavily involved in it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's helpful. I mean, the audience is obviously clued into those things, and it obviously is all coming across as, I mean, influencers are being asked to go out to those restaurants.
Absolutely.
So it's not, most of that isn't just like, hey, we're sitting here and filming our experience. Some of it is, but you want to make sure that it isn't coming across as an ad, because I feel like that's what our generation has been turned off to do. Like, skip through the commercials. Like, I'm paying for Netflix Premium to get through it. So you want to make sure it's coming across as an experience and not an advertisement.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point about the industry right now in general. I mean, especially like our generation in advertising, working for an agency, it's like we try to make ads that don't seem too addy.
Yeah.
So you're in a business, you're trying to do the opposite of what you're doing. Yeah.
It's so funny because I was literally scrolling on Instagram last night, and it was really weird because I feel like most of the videos that came up on my For You page, they all felt like ads. And usually you can tell which reel is an ad and which one isn't, where like it'll say sponsored at the top. But some of them will say like they won't have the sponsored on the top, but like it still looks and feels like an ad. So it's like getting very confusing to like tell the difference.
It's all starting to look the same.
It is.
Kind of going back to your guys' friendship and, you know, how you guys got to know each other, the power of building connections with your coworkers and just like also networking with people is so important. Like, what could you talk more about like the importance of networking and building relationships within the industry, especially not only you being in marketing, but also you being an influencer? How does that landscape kind of look like for you?
100%. I think networking is so important. Honestly, a lot of how our page got off the ground is from Sam and our little marketing gal pal group. It's been so helpful. I mean, a lot of our interactions that we've had, all of our coworkers from the job that Sam and I work together have helped our page. Since we're all in marketing, it's been super helpful. Like, hey, can you come shoot here for this restaurant and this restaurant? And it's super cool because it gets to come around in a circle and we also get to work together, which has been so fun. But it just goes to show like keeping those interactions and friendships and connections, not only just for friendship, but in that marketing space has been so helpful. And we're all here to just help each other out, which has been so fun.
And I think what's so special about our group chat is that it's like, yeah, it's been great for those little connections. Like when I used to work at a restaurant, you came in and you helped host for us. And then at the same time, like we're just always uplifting each other. And I think that's so special. And I feel like everyone in this field should have, or maybe even different fields as well, should just like have some form of like uplifting. Because it's like if we're all like one day someone has a bad day and we can vent, but then also it's like we also give like great advice and like we're always there for each other. And I think that has been like the most special part of our friendship is like just the networking, but then also just uplifting each other.
Yeah, it's been so nice. And even though we all split up, we're all still kind of in marketing, so having to like figure out gripes with it, not with each other, like, oh, can you guys figure this out for me? But also just like having that support with each other, even if it's work related or not, it's been really helpful.
Advertising is a demanding industry. I feel like the landscape of advertising has changed so much. I mean, we're not in the 90s, you know, we're not working like, you know, Saturday and Sunday smoking a cigarette, you know, but I mean, it's still a pretty demanding industry when you have to launch campaigns and when you have to, you know, work with a bunch of different departments and people like, and because the industry is also so huge, like you said, you're still learning new things. Like, you know, even though if you've been in the industry for a while now, it's like you're still learning new things because the marketing industry is so wide, and there's, especially with all the new AI stuff coming out, there's so many different new tools to be an expert in. I think it's amazing to have that connection. And then, you know, through working with Sam, I've now gotten to meet Carly, who's an amazing human being, and I hope, like, it's gonna be great to build our connection, and then, hopefully in the future, further relationships, and then, wherever, we go off to in the future, having that connection is just super nice, because then you don't feel so alone.
It is so helpful though too, even just like planning things outside of work and having marketing is honestly such a small world in such a small space.
It is.
And it's all about who you know. And I feel like it's so hard to go into a different space within marketing and not run into someone that you've already met before. But it's so fun just having all those connections, and even helpful outside of work. Like, oh, we're going to be planning a wedding. Do you guys have a DJ from an event that you worked or something like that? So it goes way beyond just like the food page or marketing, but into our personal lives too.
Right. It's all the experts you meet along the way, the photographers, the videographers,
Yeah.
It's so true. Because I remember in college, all our professors would say, okay, look around the room that you're in. At one point in your career, you're going to be working with the people around you. And I'm like, no way. But then it's like, looking back on it, I'm like, wait, no, that is so true. Because it's like, even when I just started, like in 2016, it's like my paths have been crossing a lot with people from like different parts of my career, which is like crazy, because I didn't think that was ever going to happen.
No, don't you love that when a professor says something and you're just like, yeah. And then later you're like, so they're right. They're a professor for a reason.
Yep. Teaching us life lessons over here.
Right.
Just don't want to listen to them.
So going back to best practices, what is the number one piece of advice for businesses to know before they reach out to influencers?
I think it's just good to do your research beforehand and see who you're reaching out to, and also just make sure they're a fit for your business. Sometimes we'll get, like, you can tell it's been a mass email that's been sent out. We'll get a lot of requests for like cleaning products, which your girl loves to clean, but I want to make sure that we're promoting the right things that align with our business and our page. So I just make sure that you're doing your research. There's influencers for just about everything right now, so you can definitely find something in your market and in your niche and make sure that it works. Also making sure that you're looking in your area. I know our page is very specific to Arizona, so making sure that your audience that you want to reach aligns with the influencer's audience too.
So can you kind of talk more to our audience that might not know? So when you say that you've worked on the marketing side of things versus the influencer side of things, can you kind of talk about the difference between working like in-house somewhere versus kind of being a freelance like on your own?
Sure. So working more so for a company, I'll just give my last job as an experience. I was working directly for a restaurant as a marketing director, and you want to make sure that the brand is your top priority and that is what you're focusing on. And you're obviously working for that brand, so you want to make sure everything fits within their brand guidelines and making sure that you create a presence for them. But outside of it, when you're kind of handling it on your own and being a freelancer per se, you're just making sure that I think you have a little bit more creative control, which is fun, and definitely get to be creative with it. And it kind of was helpful to see both sides of it at the same time, because from the marketing side or the in-house side, I got to see what other brands and restaurants were doing for events and like how they were treating the influencers. Being able to leave an event with like a swag bag and a personalized written note just felt really cool. So having to kind of keep that in the back of my head, doing it in-house, I'm like, okay, we should be doing that stuff and treating these people like A-list celebrities when they walk in the door, like roll out the red carpet for them. It's fun to make people feel special. So it was very beneficial to have that knowledge on both sides. Obviously, not everyone can be in that situation where they can kind of see both sides of things, but getting that one-on-one guest feedback has always been great for marketing, because you can just hope and pray that your marketing is doing as best as it can, but
feedback is everything.
Yeah.
But just going back to the guest experience for influencers, I thought one of the coolest things on your page is when you went to Elefante for the event and they literally put your little logo on a cocktail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so cute that they personalized the cocktail for you.
It was so fun and special. I have a really quick story about that too.
Yes,
I feel like I've told it a billion times, but Justin and I actually went to go take our engagement pictures in Santa Monica, and Elefante in Santa Monica was like the coolest spot to be. All the celebrities are there. I'm like, okay, we need to try and get it. I know it's not going to happen, but we go up to the door. They're like, yeah, sorry, we don't have any reservations. I found one on Yelp. We like sat next to the kitchen on this tiny table. I was so excited and so happy to eat there. And then now that it's coming to Scottsdale, one of our connections from our marketing group, her coworker reached out and asked if we wanted to come to the opening. And I'm like, that is so full circle that we are like crawling to try and get into the Santa Monica location. And now we've been asked back, I think 3 times now to film there, which has been so fun and amazing. And just having those little moments obviously create that experience. So we want to keep coming back too. So it's been so fun and kind of seeing full circle how our page has grown, which has been great. I think that too is just like making sure as an influencer, when you do start your pages, it's something that you're really passionate about and have a lot of excitement and creativity towards, because that is, Jess and I both love food, so it's easy to go out and go and film it, but you want to make sure that that passion and love is still there, because it's going to take a while to grow and stick with it. So as long as it's something you love to do, then it's easy.
It seems like you genuinely love getting to know people and getting to know the restaurants here in Arizona and like discovering our state and what it has to offer more. And I love it. Please keep doing it. I love following you.
Thank you.
I'm always learning new restaurants to go to. I'm like, I thought I knew like every restaurant in the valley, but then I'm like, I see you post something. I'm like, I need to go there.
Yeah.
There's so many in Arizona. It's absolutely wild. I don't think that we'll ever run out of places to visit.
Absolutely not. I guess my final question to you is, what's your favorite food?
Oh, this one's so hard. I feel like I have so many. It depends on the mood.
Okay.
Probably tacos or ramen, which I know are totally different foods, but
But so yummy. Salty, yummy, umami. I agree.
yum, all of the above.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate you being on our podcast.
Yes.
And I feel like even though we've been friends for 6 years and I've been with you on this journey of you starting AZ Eats and Drinks, it's so cool to kind of like learn more, kind of like your perspective from like the marketing side and also the influencer side. So thank you so much for being here and chatting with us.
Thank you, Carly.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been so fun.
And before we go, where can our followers find you?
You can find us at AZ Eats and Drinks on Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you for watching this episode of Anderson Ad Break. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platforms and rate us 5 stars. Bye.
Anderson Ad Break is on all major platforms, so tune in wherever you get your podcasts or check out the video version of each episode on YouTube. Like and subscribe to stay in the loop. You won't want to miss what's next.